Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the NECA Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees as seen in a Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. This is technically a re-release from the NECA Cult Classics line. If you didn't get your chance to get Jason then, luckily NECA has started re-releasing a lot of their figures. Some of the ones that I've noticed have been re-released have been the Michael Myers, certainly Jason as you see here. I've also seen some of the Lost Boys, Beetlejuice, and also another Jason I've seen was the Freddy vs. Jason standalone figure, and he was packaged individually. Now the only downside though is even some of the paints, as we'll see when I get this package open up, some of the paint is slightly different than that of the original. But the one thing that they've left out in a lot of the cases, not only this figure but some of the other figures that they've re-released, is the fact that they've omitted the base that actually came with this initial Jason, which is really a shame. The fact that they already had the mold. I don't know why they just didn't simply incorporate the base with the re-release of this figure. At any rate, though, Jason does feature on the back package there. You actually can't see it. I'll show you it once the figure gets opened up. On the back there's actually Jason in the background there. Down below, Jason Voorhees. On the back of the package, this surprisingly actually is the way the initial figure looked. I would almost say to scale of what the chain looks like, I almost think that's the larger, what the 18-inch so of Jason instead of the smaller scale. But this is actually the coloring of what the original Jason looked like. And the reader says, Cult Classics, a collection of your favorite heroes and villains from classic horror, sci-fi, and action movies. Each figure is highly detailed and comes complete with movie-accurate accessories. There's a curse in these woods, Jason Voorhees' curse. They say he died as a boy, but he keeps coming back. Few have seen him and lived. Some have tried to stop him. No one can. He's out there waiting. Other figures that you can get, there is the figure from 300, as well as Eric Draven from The Crow. Again, all brought to us from the good folks at NECA. What I am going to do is I'm going to take a bit of a break. I'm going to get this opened up, and when we come back, we're going to get a better look at Jason Voorhees from a Friday the 13th Part 7. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. And just quickly having a look at the back card that's featured with the Friday the 13th Jason here. One thing you'll notice, and it's what actually I noticed, it looks to me like they've used the Jason from Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. I'm just looking at the way that the mask is placed. A lot of this area has been chipped away, and I'm just wondering the shreds here. It could very well be Jason from Part 7, but I think that kind of brain sculpt in the head is usually a dead giveaway that it's Jason from Jason Goes to Hell. So I'm curious. I think it might be Jason from Jason Goes to Hell. I'm surprised they used that as the back picture, but still a good picture of Jason nonetheless. Just moving that out of the way. The one accessory that Jason does come with is his trusty machete. You can see it's quite riddled with blood. I'm sure no doubt not his blood. Blood on either side there. There's a little blood on the actual handle as well. But pretty nicely detailed, all things considered. The actual figure, again, is a re-release. They haven't retooled it or anything like that, but it is just a re-release figure from the original Cult Classics line. I so happen to have, if I just reach off camera here, I actually have the original Jason that you can see here. I would say, here's the thing, I would say, even though this is the original figure, and as a whole, it's a really, really nice detailed figure. You can see the open back here showing the spinal cord, the rips in the actual shirt, the jeans, the ripped pants with the kneecaps and everything exposed. As much as I really love this Jason, I think the coloring on the re-release Jason is much better. So for anyone that was really going to ask, well, Spot, why would you actually even buy this Jason if you already have this one? You can clearly see the reasoning why. I mean, I think this one's a little more movie accurate. Detail-wise, the coloring on the outfit and everything else is a little darker. The mask is much paler. This mask, if I can just hold the Jasons here, we'll zoom in. We'll just zoom in a little bit here. You can see that the masks, this one here is a little more green in color, whereas this one here is that kind of, I don't know what it is. It's kind of more like a beige, like a yellowish beige. The only downside, though, is I find it doesn't sit as well on Jason's face. Maybe I have to bring it down a little bit further. It doesn't sit as well on Jason's face as this one does. But I think the detail on it is still pretty good. It's definitely pretty good indeed. I'd still think, though, the re-release Jason, I'm just going to zoom back here, the re-release Jason I think is a much nicer looking coloring. And again, I think would warrant the reasoning to pick it up. There are the two Jasons there. The machete on this Jason, as you can see, has a little bit of blood here as comparison to the much bloodier smear of blood, which is one thing I'm liking that they're now doing. They're more or less smearing the blood, as opposed to some of the earlier figures, it was just kind of speckled on. It kind of looked like it was just kind of, you know, flecked on, whereas this actually looks like it's been smeared, like, you know, he's pulled it out of somebody and it's smeared and smeared that blood as it's been retracted, or as he's slashed it certainly as well. The machete can fit in Jason's hand, although the problem with the earlier Jason figure, both of them actually, is the fact that his hands, as you can see, are rubbery. They're extremely pliable. He doesn't really hold the machete very well. I mean, it sits in there, and it doesn't look like it's going to fall out, but it's definitely not a sure grip kind of thing. One thing, as I mentioned, I certainly have mentioned already, is the fact that the one other accessory that was omitted from this Jason was that of the display base. This would have been the display base that came with the original Cult Classics Jason. As you can see, some really nice detail work there. On the side it says Freddy Lives. Can you see it right there? It says Freddy Lives. There is also a heart on the other side that says ER. I still don't really know what that means. But pretty nice detail. So I would almost say, being that this is a much better looking Jason than the other one, I would say if you have the other Jason, I would just make use of this display stand, even though it didn't technically come with Jason. I would make use of this display stand for displaying this Jason here. And I just get the feet lined up there. There we go. And I think you have a really, really nice display piece. I mean, obviously, it is much larger than some of the newer release Jasons. Just as a comparison here, I'm going to bring in the more recent Jason. This is from the Friday the 13th Part 3D. I love this Jason. You can see that there's definitely a clear size difference between the two. I'm hoping that they're going to re-release this guy in the new articulated versions of the figures. Still maybe keeping the same details and everything else, but in the way of this Jason's articulation, I'm just going to take the machete out of his hand. Oh, and also, let's not also forget, here I am talking about the mask. I'm just going to take the masks off these Jasons, because both of them do actually have removable masks. There is the Jason mask, or Jason face, from the original Cult Classics line. Pretty nicely detailed, I think pretty nicely detailed as a whole. We take the mask off this Jason, and you can see just that little bit of extra paint, that little bit of extra love. It's really not that much different, but it's enough that I think this Jason really pops. So there are the two faces of Jason there. I guess if you wanted to, I don't think it would really fit as well with the figure, but I suppose also if you wanted to, you could take the initial Jason mask, being that's the same figure and all, and just slap it on the new Jason, or new released Jason figure, I should say. I think it looks pretty good, but I love this new weathered look that they did with the re-release mask. It is still, though, the same mask. So just take that off and slap it back on here. There we go. Now, in the way of Jason's articulation, this Jason will have just a rotation in the head. Actually, it's more so in the neck area. This Jason also has chains, which I like too. A little black chain there. He has rotation in the forearm, He has a rotation in the elbow, rotation in the hand. No ball joints or anything like that. He has a rotation in the waist, and that's it. All the rest of this is just solid piece, just sculpt. Back then, I mean, obviously NECA would have probably had a harder time trying to mix articulation with a sculpt such as this. I think the kneecaps, though, are a little more predominant on the original release Jason. But I would say NECA could do this now, but back then they probably would have had a tough time incorporating a good sculpt along with this articulation in the kneecaps. But I really, really like this Jason. You know, it's very basic, and if anything else, it's more of a display piece than that of the other Jasons. You know, you can't really do much posing in the way of this figure, but if you didn't get a chance to get the original Jason from Cult Classics, I would almost say that's not necessarily a bad thing. The other Jason, like I said, is not really colored, I would think, as accurate as this one here. This one's got much nice coloring, and I would say definitely worth picking up. If you don't mind the fact that he doesn't have the base, unfortunately, right there, I would definitely say get this figure for a nice, really cool display piece. Jason from Friday the 13th Part 7. For the life of me, I can't remember what I gave him initially for a review, but if you can overlook the fact that he doesn't have super articulation to it, I'm going to give Jason here a 7.5. Somewhat ironic, the fact that he comes from Part 7. I think I'm going to give Jason here, though, a 7.5. Today's Toy Spot, we were having a look at the re-released Friday the 13th Jason Voorhees from Part 7. It came to us from the good folks at NECA. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hey, you know what? Maybe even let me know your thoughts as to which Jason you prefer, whether you like this version or if you like the original version that has more green and everything else in them. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.